This is LangOps Machine version 1. This is a lightweight, AI-assisted, multilingual help center workflow that I have built around really just Google Sheets and Google Suite products. And the important thing here is LangOps is not just AI translation. As the future of translation and localization, we're talking about a controlled localization pipeline that's designed to help teams produce publish-ready, help center type content with AI drafts, QA gates, escalation rules, audit logs, basic performance metrics. And the goal is extremely simple. We're just going for faster publishing, but lower risk, and keeping the terminology consistent across languages. And that it has everything to do with branding as it does with QA. So let's take a look at where we start. Take a screenshot of this if you want to refer back to it later, but I'll come back to it myself as well. So we're starting with the client providing the content and language rules. If you are marketing well, you've hopefully got a place where people can actually reach out to you. This is ILC's website here. So people can peruse the website and go straight to starting a conversation. Currently, it features just the Japanese-English language pair, but it can expand to accommodate when other translators are part of that picture as well. Here's the contact me page. Very simple. Tell me the language pair, how'd you find us, etc. This is just establishing connection. Once that has been established, it's important that there is a way for the LangOps command center that I'm about to show you to ingest everything that's going to be needed for this to work. So while a quick consultation may be in order, often enough you can get more than enough just from a really a decent project intake form. Mine has source, target, languages, content type, what's the project scope more or less, when's the deadline, how urgent is it, who's this for, what are the existing reference materials already. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, so tell me what you have already. How confidential or sensitive does this need to be? That determines a lot. And then what are those reference files you already have in terms of glossary and so forth? Those are then, as I said, ingested into the command center. Here's the command center. It is a Google Sheets workbook. That is all we're looking at. So Google Sheets simply takes the intake form data, and then we immediately move forward from there. So I made this one from scratch, so I'm not showing anything sensitive here. There is some app script that is part of this design, but I'm just going to show you the basic layout. So once that sort of lightweight intake has come in, we can view from the dashboard what sort of total items are passing or need review in terms of QA, in terms of volume. Are there PII issues? Do we have some maybe do not translate items in there, in which case that gets flagged as well, high risk? What also is the throughput, generally speaking, of the content? The escalation matrix is where all of that primarily happens. So the content, once it's entered the command center, actually really first gets mediated through here, through the inputs. But those inputs, this is the layout. Nothing is connected to this tab directly. This is just telling us as the human being, what are we looking for here? What qualifies as a high risk? What qualifies as medium? And so forth. And this is what we can also use as part of our programming on the app script side for determining when it's a QA fail versus just a general needs review sort of action that's required next. So instead of treating every article the same, this workflow distinguishes between the low-risk content and other content that may involve billing, security, privacy, maybe access to accounts, sensitive topics. So those distinctions are extremely central, and in order to streamline anything, you have to make that distinction first. Not every problem actually requires AI. Some problems require just general automation. Some just require better metadata, and some actually need a human to go in and do the actual review work. And that's the role of translators. That's why translation isn't going away. Translators aren't going away. They're the human touch point. Now, when the system generates localized output, and it's done so first after qualifying everything, that output produces two things. First is the target content, which is publish ready HTML or JSON in many cases, if you need that to connect to another through another integration into something else. So the HTML is the first target product, and then that JSON is another structured output. And the receipt of that can include the source ID, the target language, prompt version. Where's the JSON for this one? It's right here. Here's the HTML. Actually, in this one, I can see that JSON hasn't been outputted, but that's simply because I failed to copy that over. But a very simple extra column here would easily render a JSON output as well. And so what this gives is it gives traceability. It gives us a sense of when things pass, when things need review or fail. We have a record of it. We have it logged at every step along the way. And that's what makes for good PII and QA coverage. The audit log that I was just showing, every generation attempt is logged. Successes, errors, retries, and review notes. These are all being captured, and that is our audit trail. And that's especially important when AI is part of this workflow, because teams need to know not just what was created, but how it moved through the system. The QA checks include PII, forbidden claims, glossary mismatches, do not translates, and broken links. And then, of course, the formatting issues might show up too with HTML, so that is accounted for in this sort of structure as well. And the point is, again, automation doesn't catch everything. The point is that obvious preventable problems should be caught before a human reviewer needs to spend time, and therefore we spend money on that time for that item. So again, where's a QA fail example. Oh, first, here's that output JSON I was talking about. So it was actually on a different tab. So again, looking real quick at the QA tab here, we can see examples. One example of a QA fail. So we have glossary violations and mismatches. Looks like there was a review requirement here. But PII was fine, forbidden was fine. It really is just one that would normally just require some review. But in addition to that, the fact that there are a number of mismatch flags over that critical number, that means that this is not just in need of review. The QA fail completely, and we need to potentially restructure the input or refine the input or the like. So essentially, the item then gets routed to block and fix. We edit, regenerate, adjust the glossary, whatever needs to happen in order for that QA fail to go away. And so if the issue requires this human judgment, so there's drift, ambiguity, cultural nuance, high-risk content, whatever it is that requires human judgment, it routes to a human reviewer or translator for their approval. And that means nothing high-risk ships out without that approval. And that's the difference between some casual AI translation use and actual localization operation, as we would expect of a LangOps project. So once an item passes, again, the workflow prepares a publish-ready package, ready to publish, QA pass, and it includes the target HTML, language status, QA result, everything that our client needs, defect tags, notes, source reference. And the end product is not just translated text then. We're providing that and so much more. It's operationally usable. content that can move into their CMS or their help center platform or some other review process they may have on their side. And so again, the system updates this dashboard and the audit log. And this again shows the review rates, the pass review fail counts, defect frequency, throughput. That's what makes this workflow measurable. So a localization individual or team you don't just need output, you need visibility. You need to be able to answer the questions, where are the bottlenecks in this flow? What issues keep recurring? Which content types really need human review the most often? Where does the glossary need improvement? That's where LangOps is valuable. So again, this is a lightweight workflow for multilingual help center localization or the like, or who knows what kind of client you run into. But this is not to replace translators. It's rather meant to make translation safer, faster, more consistent, more measurable, as you could see. And this is all the more important when AI is involved. Now, if you like this kind of practical LangOps build, please give this post a like or this video a like, and be sure to leave a comment. I'm especially interested to hear how other localization teams or individuals are thinking about these lightweight workflows, AI guardrails, escalation matrix or escalation rules in general, multilingual content operations, and so forth. And if you are in particular also in working in localization content ops or support knowledge management, I'm especially hopeful to hear what you have to add to a sort of version 2 of this machine as well.